Yes. Namaskaram. I'm so glad actually that we are doing this because I remember ever since I've been following you on Instagram, I have always had this on my mind that the wisdom and the knowledge, I don't know what word to use, but it needs to be spread. And I'm really humbled to have you here. Thank you. Thank you so much for accepting this. Uh, yeah. So, let me tell you something about Ram Gurunganga Anna, right? Did I pronounce it
Yeah,
well?
yeah, that's
Correct?
correct. Yeah.
So Anna is a meditator. He has been following Isha since 2018 and has volunteered for Isha programs and many outreach programs of Isha like Kaveri Calling and Save Soil. Few years back, he initiated a project, Map Energy Spaces in Indian continent, and currently he takes people on this yatra to spread the spaces, to spread the sacred spaces to revive the culture of making use of this energy spaces. Am I right,
Yeah,
Anna?
yeah, that's absolutely correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so he has also written few spiritual books which are available on samadhibooks.com. This is a little brief of what I have understood from what Anna has shared me.
Yeah.
So let's just ask him directly about what is all of. I mean, I have attended few lives, and there was so much of understanding from every possible video that you had posted. For all of that, it has taken years and years and years of something, some kind of practice, some kind of understanding, some kind of experience. So what is it all about? Before that, please tell us, where are you from?
So, many years back, like around 2016 or something like that, when I went to Isha, because at that time, I didn't knew much about Sadhguru, I didn't knew much about inner engineering, and I didn't knew much about like spiritual practices because I actually came from the background of seeking of the likes of like a Gautama the Buddha and Ramana Maharshi, and of course nobody who is actually alive now have actually seen or have encountered or interacted with Gautama the Buddha. So whatever we actually learned about him is just a minuscule of what he has said, and then most of the things are going to be in very limited and distorted ways. So
Okay.
when I started doing Buddhist meditation, I used to do like hourly, few hours, like that can be a little bit difficult for most of the people to digest. So Osho was the first one who actually was able to like actually dissect what Buddha actually meant
Mm-hmm.
and what he was actually, rather than even where I'm at the moment, like this house is like a full of like a lot of statues of the Gautama the Buddha, but for most of the people, like it is more about the aesthetics values rather than fashion statement and everything. And now everybody thinks about like meditation, like Gautama the Buddha is synonymous to him.
Yes.
Even though people do not meditate, most of the people
Right.
are not actually meditating. Okay, they're just closing their eyes and everything, and it's going to be like a tough initially because to understand like what the meditation is, either you need a guru and everything. That is what will be going into it.
Yes.
But when I went to the Isha at 2016, I just went there because somebody told me that there's a linga with like a seven chakras.
Oh,
So and that actually took me there, and then I went to meditate in the Dhanalinga and came out, and then I met few of the people, and at that time, like Isha was not as big as now. It's become like big,
yeah.
melting point of all the seekers and non-seekers and tourists and everyone like that. Okay, everybody is going to Isha. But at that time,
Yeah.
only the seekers used to go, and these kind of at that time, like there was no Instagram or no social media wasn't that popular at that time. So there used to be the
Correct.
people who used to crisscross India. There were people like starting from Rishikesh or Haridwar or like from the north, and they will be exploring down south towards the Kerala, and then like there would be another group of people who start from the Kerala and starting going towards the north. So whenever you are going to this hotspot of like a seekers, and I would rather use the word like a nirvana junkie, because when you have certain kind of experience but you do not know how to create that experience, you
Yes.
are going to places which can actually trigger that kind of experience to you.
Correct.
So because of that reason, like you go to all these hotspots, and uh,
Mm,
you in each and every places, like you will be meeting the people coming from the
mm,
north and people going from the south. So when you meet the people, like you'll be exchanging like where have you been, like what are the g- great places that you can visit, and of course the question, like you said, that where are you from.
yeah.
So basically, like when I used to ask like a few of the people and everything, some people will say like a simple answer, but like some of the people say that like like I come from nowhere and I'm
I
going nowhere. So,
I know.
but I don't want people to fly off and everything. But if you ask, technically like just the normal question that people ask, like if you are going
Yeah.
to the university or like going for some visa interview or something. So I belong from like Nepal. So like I was born in the Himalayas, and I've like lived in like many different countries and explored most majority of the places. Maybe the karma is like that or whatever. But after I got initiated, and after several sadhana and everything, like it might be an understatement or something like that. But the person like who was seeking everything is no longer there. So it might sound like a little bit very bold statement to say, but it is a privilege that like we can actually find seekers who want to know.
Yes.
It's very
Yeah.
rare nowadays, like that is the reason like we are coming with like all this. If you do not know, like we have a YouTube channel also. Like I don't actually promote that, but it's
Yeah.
called like hardcore spirituality, only the further people like who want to say. But I'm not a
That's why
yeah.
in between also, like I had texted you like in several times in between, thinking that why did you take it off? Because whatever you were, the content and the data that you had about spirituality, it was something that actually there are people who need it. And that's how somewhere something, because anytime you have posted, yesterday also you posted a
Yeah,
story, and that just resonated with me, because in the moment that was needed for me, because that
yeah,
was the message that I was seeking.
yeah.
And from seekers you get it. So I was surprised to see that. But
Yeah, but
anyway, I think
yeah,
in one way or the other way it
just
should.
like yeah, that has been the problem of like all the people. Like I wouldn't consider myself as like evolved or something like that in any better way than any other people. But like there are a lot of people like who actually look up to me, and then they find something valuable, and that is the only reason I'm sharing out. And one of the reasons like I started the YouTube channel was only because when I was doing the volunteering, and like there's during the programs, there's a sharing session. So
Mm,
whenever I was sharing and everything, like even the fellow volunteers were also like they were also shocked that the Easter practices are capable of doing all these kind of things, and the potential, because unless somebody does not come and share
yes,
certain
it out
things, nobody actually knows like what is the possibilities, and yes or no. Yes,
very much,
so
very much.
it's like insane stuff like what it is and everything, but there will be the group of people like who is just curious,
Yes.
and there will be the people like who are are seekers, but
Mm,
they want to seek on their own terms and conditions, and
mm.
that is the worst thing you can do to yourself, because the moment you seek on your own terms and conditions, you're just like going round and round.
Yeah, you're just going to float here and there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And there is another breed like who is very thirsty.
Hmm.
So, for example, like most of the people want to become rich, but like they don't know how to do it. Like if you just want to become rich, you just need to see like we have organically become rich, and then just replicate that.
Yes.
And spiritual process is no different. That is the reason like we go to the gurus.
Yeah,
So
I know.
if guru is available, like that is completely fine. If the guru is not available, through my like seeking, early seeking, and like even now experience, because even Sadhguru also says, and like I think like it's experience for most of the people, that guru is not a person. And if you go to
Very much.
the places where these gurus and enlightened beings and elevated beings were in samadhi, or like they're in like a very high level of consciousness and everything, they have left their energy signature over there. So
Mm.
just like Sadhguru says that like if you meet a person, then you have to deal with his persona also. And whenever I'm sharing something, let's say on social media or something like that, people who are like in a deep state of seeking, and like they are not seeking on their own terms and conditions. Okay, so if you are not seeking on a terms and condition, then like you'll see that like this truth is not coming from me, it is coming
Yeah,
from somewhere else.
somewhere.
And because like during one of the yatra, like there was one Anna, and then like he used to say that like Anna, like I like whatever you're saying and something like that, you are doing
Mm-hmm.
a great thing. And I used to tell him that like these are not my words, and that is the reason I wrote a book called like poems from beyond, because
Mm.
I cannot write these words.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
even like nothing is actually happening. Even like if you see from the point of view, like even this Instagram or this mobile phone or something, like neither you invented this, neither I invented this,
yes,
isn't it? Yes or no? Yes.
yes,
You just need to
true.
make use of it. And life is very short to like going on your own terms and conditions. So because of that reason, like uh, you just go to the energy spaces where these gurus has like left their energies and everything. And the beauty of that one is like you don't need to deal with the persona of Sadhguru or like any of other gurus or even me. Like I don't consider myself a guru, or like I don't want to take that burden of like But you got my point. So whenever I'm sharing the videos or something like that, there will be people like will be feeling
It,
okay. This is a treasure, but there
is
can be the
most
people like might find that a little bit triggering for them, and I don't
yeah.
want to create that kind of conflict
Mm,
between the people. So like if you see like initially when I started the Instagram or something or social media,
mm,
it would be far more extreme and far more intense, but we have toned it down very much.
yeah.
Yeah,
It. I mean, people are just seeing in one perspective
correct.
because they have learned it in that manner, but there's something beyond that which the master himself says it, but people are failing to
Correct,
understand that. I
correct.
understand your point. Also, there are like we meet. It's not only one master or one person we go to. We resonate with someone we actually get connected to,
Correct.
and
Yeah.
that is what it is. If someone is not getting resonated here, they can just move on to something which where they actually feel some kind of connect and gain something and just go ahead instead of just having some kind of
Mm.
arguments and misunderstandings and falling in that loop here.
Yeah,
It's so
yeah,
simple, but yeah, unfortunately. But people who resonate, people who are seeking, do get connected, and you know
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So basically, you're from which location?
Uh, I'm from like Nepal. Like it's a place called like Pokhara, but like that is the town I used to live. But like I'm currently in the United States for the Devi consecration. So like
Oh,
it's actually
really?
like early morning here. So
Oh,
yeah,
nice. This is
yeah,
really nice.
yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, since you're from Nepal, I think all these experiences and the way you have come up till here, somewhere something has just, how is it like? I mean, is it the experience that has made you like this, or is it something like you are more connected to the energy spaces? So something just happened there, or you started doing some kind of practices. What is it all about? Like, I mean, when people
So yeah,
call
yeah,
spiritual,
yeah.
how can we connect to all of this?
Yeah, so if you look from my like my journey and everything, like if you want to go through that one, like it's a long process. It is going to take hours and hours, and like it may not be complete. That is the reason. If you go to my YouTube channel, like there is a 24 part series and everything on
Okay.
like how I started and everything elaborately.
Hmm.
So if I want to give you a gist of everything, is basically like there are two types of triggers. So one trigger is like that is going to make you happy in your life, and another kind of trigger is that is going to make you sad and frustrating and unfulfilled and everything. Now, one thing is like you can actually dumb them down, like trying to distract with many materialistic thing, like traveling here and there, like watching movies, using
Hmm.
Instagram or whatever. Okay, or just like Sadhguru says, like simply going for shopping and all that kind of stuff. But eventually, like you will come to a point that you are completely unfulfilled. So when you are
Hmm.
unfulfilled and everything, like you want to go, like want to look for something more.
Hmm.
And whether it is going to take the conscious approach or unconscious approach, But like if you're little bit, just a tiny bit of like conscious, then you'll always be looking for something larger than like what you are doing right now, or like larger than whatever you are experiencing right now. And once you have explored, the most important thing, like what I suggest is, it works in like all dimensional life. Whether you are doing the spiritual practices or the you have got certain desire in the materialistic world, is basically exhausting the possibilities. For example, like people want to make money, but they are like scared of like going to the ventures, like leaving their house, like going out of comfort zone, scared of like speaking, going to the conferences, taking presentation, like launching a business, or uh, if you do like you are not exhausting your possibilities. For example, like people want to get into the relationship, but they are playing very safe and everything.
Yes.
That way, like
Correct.
you'll never know the full spectrum of like how far you can go. Okay, and because of that reason, like, but rather than experimenting, like they are actually simulating everything. For example, like simulating basically means like they are watching all this like nonsense movies and everything, you know. People, because like people who are very successful in relationships or something like that, they don't have time to write poetry, or like they don't have a time to like write all these like heartbreak songs and music and everything. They don't have time.
Yes.
Successful people will never have time, okay? Whether a yogi or like a bhogi or something. If you're
Yeah.
very very successful, you don't have time. Only the failed people have time to like write all these stories and all that kind of stuff. And that is
Yes.
what is simulates everything. But in my context, like I exhausted everything that has to be explored, and went to a certain point, and somebody actually told me, okay, it actually happened like accident. I was in UK at the time. I was doing MBA, and I was working, and I had a manager, and that manager was from Sri Lanka. And if you look, Sri Lanka is like a predominantly like a Buddhism.
Yes.
And although like I come from the birthplace of Buddha, which is Nepal, like Buddha was born in Lumbini. So, but just like I said, like people use Buddha more like a god one way, and another way was like a more like a pop culture kind of thing.
Yes.
Like aesthetics, values, and everything. Okay, so because of all that reason, like I was working, and then one day like the manager came to me and then asking me, uh, like are you like you should be doing like a Buddhist meditation, it's good for you and everything. And I told him directly that like I don't believe in God. Okay.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
because the thing is like see, one of the thing is we have been fooled in a big way from the society that like you go to the temple and all your dreams are going to come true and everything, but people are dumbing them down. But if you look very logical in everything, then if I have desired something, then things some come true. Like if it doesn't come true, then either you are doing something wrong, or like the entire approach is wrong. Okay, which is basically going to the temple and asking for things.
Yes.
But now like you have tried all the possibilities, and you found out that like you are not doing something wrong, then that basically means your approach is wrong, isn't it? Yes. So
Yes.
because of that
Very.
reason, like I became a hardcore atheist. So whatever I'm doing, like I'm always hardcore. Either I'm a one or I'm zero. I'm zero. I'm not. I don't have any gray side. Like if you ask me.
Yeah.
So that's where like my intensity comes and everything. And because of that reason, I became a hardcore atheist. But when that manager actually told me that there's no God in Buddhism, then I became like a little bit curious. And just like I said, like I was not seeking in terms and conditions. So I was open to that thing. And then I started looking for certain texts, started researching, and then I started doing Buddhist meditation like every 2 hours a day.
Okay.
And slowly, like, I was becoming happy by myself, and, it was working for me. But
So you started with meditation.
yeah, correct. Yeah, Buddhist meditation, yeah. So breath watching and all that kind of stuff. So basically, like it is one of the dharanas.
Yeah.
So 112 dharanas. They are like the Shiva actually talks about that.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
one of the dharanas is basically the breath watching, and I used to continuously do, and like I was doing well. But the one of the biggest mistake I did was it's certain kind of thing. Like there's a self-driven kind of what is it called? Uh, I forgot the name, but like you want to whatever you have experienced, like you want to share with other people also.
Yeah.
So I started like telling that people should be doing meditation, you should not be eating meat and all that kind of stuff. And like
Yeah.
you become like
You
a
become
sort
like a
of very boring. You
yeah,
become like a very boring kind of person.
boring person.
Yeah, you'll become a boring
You want
person
to
because
share it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You go to the party like you don't drink, and you go to your like a relative's house or like friends and families, and you don't even drink a tea and everything. No cold drinks, nothing, and they have to cook a separate food for you, make a separate drink for you,
Yeah.
and everything. And
Yeah.
Buddhism is like a very hardcore. Like it's far more hardcore than like what we're doing at the moment.
Oh,
It's
is
not
it?
that straightforward. And one of the biggest drawback is like there is no gurus also. So I'll keep it short. Okay, so and then like everything was going well and everything, and just like you find out one thing and you started navigating other things, exploring other things. So I started searching on the internet, and eventually I came across one article. I'll not go too much deeper, but in that article, like this, it was actually the conversation between Ramana Maharshi and Punja Papaji. I do not know, like, why I went there, because I didn't consider myself as a spiritual seeking, but I was just doing Buddhist meditation because it was working for me. But the moment there's a, short like interaction between them, and there's a one question that like, Punjab Babaji actually asks Ramana Maharshi, pesters him a lot. Like there's a long story, but I'm just making it short. So
Yes.
Ramana Maharshi actually gave that a particular answer, and something happened to me with that answer. Okay, and at that time, like my mind couldn't grasp it, and that was the same experience when I actually met Sadhguru physically, because when you see, perceive certain things, like your mind is there, and it is going to already come into the perception, and it is going to give lot of rationale and like a lot of like whether I like it, this is beautiful, this is ugly, this is good, this is bad, all those kind of ideas will come into the play, but when I met Sadhguru for the first time, like my mind couldn't actually grasp, what it is and everything.
Exactly.
And same thing happened with like that, like when Ramana Maharshi was answering to like Punja Papaji, and then now I know it was a spiritual experience. And after that, I started reading more about Ramana Maharshi, and the more I read about Ramana Maharshi's autobiography, like Tiruvannamalai actually pulled me towards. Like I had to go to Tirumala. It was like attraction. So for example, like if you have ever, or I know like everybody is mature enough that much, if you are in a relationship or something like that, like there will be the attraction and there will be the repulsion also. There will be both. Without that, like there cannot be any kind of
Agree.
attraction towards the opposite sex or any family or relationship or something. But that was like full attraction only. There was no repulsion. It was like that. But it took me like 2 years to reach there, and I had like a crazy experiences at Ramana Maharshi Ashram and many other places. And but the problem was like at that time, like I had migrated to Bengaluru, so I was like working there, doing very well in job and everything. But the challenge was like whenever I was in Ramana Maharshi Ashram, like I was experiencing like crazy things. But like when I came back to Bengaluru, like it was fade out. So you are experiencing this and experiencing down. That's why I refer that as like a nirvana junkie, because you experience something, now you want that hit.
Yes.
And that's why one of the reasons is like a spiritual process actually ensures that you don't become the experience hunter. So nirvana junkie is nothing but like it's another name for the experience hunter, because you don't have your fundamentals right. Okay, you're just like a flying off. Okay, that's a good in one level, because now you are not in like a materialistic mode. That is good for the planet, but like not good for you. Because for example, like you don't do anything, you are useless and everything. You're sitting down now. You are not buying stuff. That basically means like you are creating less pollution.
Yeah.
It's good for the environment,
Yeah.
but you are not growing. That is a bad thing for you.
Yeah,
So
when
if you are very intense, if you are very intense, but you don't have fundamentals correct, and you are going towards off and off, then that is going to be very, very risky, and that is where you should find a guru. And fortunately, like when I had went, like before that happened, like I had actually went to Isha Yoga Center, also not knowing the inner engineering program was there. And cutting short, after that, like going back and forth to Tiruvannamalai, like I was frustrated. Now I had come to a point that I actually need a live guru, and then let's try this one. So I went to
Yeah.
Isha and then enrolled for the inner engineering, retreat program. I didn't even knew that there were local centers in Bangalore. So I went to
Okay.
the retreat, and then I didn't even knew they would be initiating me into Shambhavi or anything,
Okay.
because I just went there as a seeker, and then
Mm,
when the initiation happened and everything, I experienced the same thing that I experienced at the Tiruvannamalai. So
nice.
and even more, there are more details like I've shared in the videos and everything. I'll
Books.
not go into much more detail into that
Yeah.
one. But now
Sure.
the thing was I had actually upgraded myself into the next phase, because why I'm telling you this is because other people also need to know it
Yeah.
is possible for everyone.
It is.
Because
It is.
if I
Very
just say
much.
that, like, okay, this is like this and everything, and for you, you just need to grind it, you need certain
Mm,
kind of pointers.
yes.
uh, it's like a footprint that is left behind by the fellow travelers who had actually been before you.
Mm,
So the difference was at Ramana Mercy, I had to go there. Okay, it's just like going to buy some food at the restaurant all the time. When you're hungry, you go to the restaurant.
go to
Nowadays, you are ordering food. But now, doing the sadhana, getting initiated into the Shambhavi is creating cooking your own food. So harvesting
right.
your own vegetables at home. So that actually freed me of the that time and space, that because from Bangalore to Tiruvannamalai, it would take 3-4 hours at least to go. And if you have been to the Bangalore, there's a silk board also on the
Yeah.
way. So it's insane stuff. So yeah. So that's how I slowly realized, and after going to the Samyama, before Samyama, there were a lot of hurdles on the way,
Mm.
because I was in a fast forward, and I finished from within 6 months. I completed from inner engineering to Samyama, and we are
Within
actually,
6 months,
yeah, 6 months,
you
yeah.
finished Samyama.
Yeah, in 6 months, yeah. And we're also quite fortunate, because it was actually 2.5 years. There was no Samyam actually happened.
Oh.
Maybe it was waiting for me. We do not know, but just like a
Yeah,
case.
yeah. Yeah, I totally believe in the right time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
It
now, but now,
happens.
because of a lot of volunteers, it is happening twice a year. So it's good for everybody. But please make use of it, because you can die any moment. So don't don't postpone. Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah,
So what, like, yes, it's a personal experience for each and every individual for
correct.
where
Yeah,
they are in their life, for the spiritual process, or for any individual to understand even ki, okay, there is something called as spiritual, and what
yeah.
is it? Because I remember when I was I don't know, a dumb person. I remember that when I used to see someone, and when someone used to introduce, I'm spiritual, I'm like, what are you even talking about? What is that tag and label you're putting it?
Yeah,
So it was so alien for me
yeah.
at that point of time. But then once I started understanding with a lot of experiences,
Mm.
when I just understood about the material life and everything that is going on
Yeah.
around me is just, frustrating. It is not giving me what I actually want.
Mm.
Somewhere deep down, something just started. And slowly, as you said, you experienced it all by yourself, you explored all by yourself.
Yeah.
Same thing happened with me. Then I
Mm.
was like, you know,
Yeah.
now I need Guru.
Yeah.
I need someone who can guide me. That's when Sadhguru happened.
Yeah.
So I completely understand
Yeah.
this. So how can you just express to people who don't know what, because spirituality is being
Mm.
taken in some different sense altogether.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Just the basic living. I remember yesterday I just spoke to one of my closest person. She asked me, "What do you do now?" So I said, "I do a lot of sadhana now." So sadhana means, what do you do? You like meditate, you do mantra jap, you do what? So then I just explained of how my things are, and then she was like, "Okay, what is this like? I mean, spiritual मतलब अब तुम बदल गई हो क्या?" So I just could answer in a very simplest way to her, making sure that, I don't disturb any area of her understanding. I just told her that earlier how I used to see things were very different. And now
mm.
how I see things are very much different. It's the reality that I am able to see, which gives me
Yeah.
a chance to be who I am. So
Correct.
this
Yeah.
is how I explained it to her. I want you to put it out to people of how people can understand spirituality to be just normal living.
Yeah, so basically, like there are many different aspects to it. For example, like before I go into your question, the reason like why we are actually in this current kind of state where like spirituality means like a very funny word, just like Sadhguru says, like it's the most corrupted world today because
Yes.
like spirituality means like a lot of different things to many people at the moment. So it has actually happened only because like there has been like a lot of invasions and a lot of things has happened and a lot of education system has been distorted and everything.
Yes.
And there has been like a lot of enlightened beings has gone into the hiding and everything because it is not very conducive because like you need a support from the society also. That is a different thing, and that is also one of the vision that like a Sadhguru has, and it is a responsibility for everybody. Like we have experienced certain things, they should come out open, and then like try to make it more mainstream. Because see, if we say from the moral point of view that like we should avoid like the fake stuff and like which are misleading, that is not going to happen. People are going to do it because like most of the people has got certain kind of ego boost.
Yes.
You know how the ego boost works. For example, like I post certain things and I got a lot of followers. I'll become feel good, isn't it? People are getting feel good. That is a vanity metrics. That is one aspect of it. Now the another thing is like why we are conducting all these yatras, like why we are putting out these books and everything. All these kind of things is basically to make this mainstream.
Yes.
So just like Sadhguru says that like if you got like 10 things negative going on in the internet or the misleading things going on the internet, you should have like at least like 10 times more, which is actually better. And at the moment, like one of the things, like I'm not going to criticize, but like take this opportunity for the people who are like watching and listening to this. When you are putting out a post or something, like it's fine, like you should be sharing like whatever Sadhguru is saying and everything. That is important also. But like that is already being done by like Isha Foundation. Okay.
Yes.
In a big way. What you need to do it is like you need to create a content like which is more organic. For example, like you should be showing your name should be showing, and you should show that like you are being benefited from this one, and at the same time like you are able to manage both your family and everything in a very productive way and everything. It's an upgrade, just like Sadhguru says that like spirituality is an empowerment, not a disability.
Yes.
And that way is going to happen when you are going to push. And like one of the reasons like why I came out and then like posting myself and a lot of videos was because when let's say like you go into the Facebook and you post the Sadhguru post or something like that, your family members are going to simply ignore it. But if you post your picture either with a temple or like with a Isha something doing something, you'll get a lot of likes and like a lot of like interaction is going to happen. So that organic content has to come. And even now like I've been saying that for like many years, but like still like people are hiding behind acronyms, different kind of names like Shiva 111 or whatever, hiding. Like that is not the way you are going to transform the world. I'm telling you, that is not going to help anything. Maybe like you are in the Instagram and everything, that is completely fine. Like you are getting access to a lot of things. I'm not disagreeing, but just like Sadhguru says, like there are only two things: profoundness of experience and the impact. So if you do not want to look into the impact, then it's not going to going well. And the Kriya Yoga that is provided by the Sadhguru is like a far more powerful than like anything what we have seen at the moment, because Life Guru is here. So because of that reason, you can balance both. Now coming back to your answer about the spiritual dimension and the another thing, see, like what you need to keep in mind is when you are talking to speaking to the another person, technically what you are talking about is two things. One is the impact, and another one is success. So, for example, like if you want to save the planet, now going and telling somebody we should save the planets and everything, people might be excited on the day one. On the day two, like they'll say like it's old news.
Yes.
Okay. So you have to deal with something like what the another person is actually looking towards, and you have to give the solution that is going to solve their problem. For example, everybody wants to become happy. You just need to say that if you just do 21 minutes of sadhana or even miracle of the mind, you can become happy 24 hours a day without any external stimuli.
Yeah.
That is what they are looking forward to. They are not looking for Shiva or like a temples or like a consecration or chakras or anything. Isn't it? Yes?
Yeah.
Is that a good way to tell that if you do the spiritual dimension, you can do it. And there was a one thing one Anna was there during our Kashi Yatra, and then when we went to the Sarnath, where Gautama Buddha decided to become the guru for the first time. If that event has never happened, I think meditation would have disappeared from the world. I can guarantee you that much. Okay, because Buddha way is very hardcore. Okay, either you can become one or you can become zero. Okay, it's like that. It's not flaky kind of thing. And because of that reason, even now, you can see, even though people are not practicing Buddhist meditation that rigorously Buddha wanted, but you can actually see a Buddha's statue is meditating rigorously everywhere. So because of that reason, just because of the statue, that idea of meditation is still alive, isn't it? Just by looking into it, you can see the posture and everything. So that has kept alive. So when we went to the Sarnath, a question came, it is very relevant to this one also, because when you went over there and then he started asking, because one of the Anna actually, I do not know whether he's alive, he's online now or not, but he actually asked is Buddhist way is also what it is and everything, is it same, different, or whatever it is, because it goes against the Sanatana Dharma and all that kind of stuff. Yes. And because this is what it is, people want to seek on their own terms and condition, and just like Sadhguru says that whether you like it or not, everybody is seeker. Yes. Okay, consciously or unconsciously. So you and me, we're a little bit conscious now. It is our responsibility to ensure that what that person is actually looking forward to. Because if you say that okay, spiritual practice is all about enlightenment and going into ecstasy or something like that, people will not understand that part. They will never understand. Even a majority of the people who proclaim themselves as a seeker, they do not know these things also. Yeah.
And most of the people I have seen who are nearby me, they say that they are actually scared of all these things, and that's the reason some people don't even try to attempt it.
No, not only that, they are scared of everything. They are scared of relationships. They are scared about the job. They are scared of everything. For example, see, you might think that, okay, the government is not doing its job. Let's say, I'll do like this and give you all the power to run the government. You'll be scared for that one. So, just like Sadhguru says, the fear comes only because first thing, you do not know. No. So, and in life, you'll never know anything. So, the only thing what you need to do it is, you need to develop the competency and enhance your perception. These are the only two things you need to do.
And how?
Okay, but that nobody teaches you. That's the big problem.
That's the thing which people don't understand, and they're just going here, there, and everywhere.
And also, I'll tell you another thing, because people are scared of the unknown. But the thing is, the relationship becomes exciting because you do not know what is going to happen. And for example, you watch movies and very glued to the movies and everything, because there are certain kind of movies you do not know what is happening, and twists and turns. It becomes very exciting. But as Sadhguru says that if you want the adventure in your life, it is best you do not know anything. And that is the reason whenever we take people to the yatra, we never reveal most of the things. Okay, it's just you go there and then and then it hits you after that. Then it's something
it's
crazy stuff.
Journey. It's an individual journey. Be it unconscious, conscious, yes.
Correct.
And I think we need to do what we need to do at every stage.
Yeah. See, the only thing of coming out of that fear and everything is a trust. And that is why I told earlier also that because there has been a lot of misinformation that is going in the internet. And even if you look, that the death book that is published in the a South Indian edition, or the Indian edition, or in the Indian subcontinent, you'll see that there's a picture of Sadhguru in front of the book. And in this part of the world, it is widely accepted as a guru, so you can sell it. But the same book that is being published in the North America, that doesn't have the Sadhguru's picture, because people cannot accept the another person to be higher than yourself, okay, elevated than yourself. Everybody has to be equal.
That's,
So it's like a different cultures and different norms and everything that we need to navigate like differently and everything.
I
Yes.
think again, all of this just comes to that line when you said that, um, you know, the people who are enlightened or people who are on, intensely doing
Yeah.
sadhana, for them it is very difficult to stay in the society.
Yeah.
I think this is what is happening every now and then in every
Mm.
place.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm also praying and wishing that yes, may there be that kind of environment where these kind of
Yeah.
flowers can
Correct. Correct. Correct.
bloom.
Yeah. Yeah, so that will only come just like Sadhguru is like actually targeting the. That is why like he's targeting always going after the leadership always. So
Yeah.
that is the reason like people might be thinking like why Sadhguru is like meeting all these like a politician, very ultra rich people, very powerful people, and like all these kind of things. The only reason is because like see like if you go onto the street and tell them sexual, he can only transform. Let's say like that person is very rigorous. Like he can transform maybe like his family, maybe like a little bit one or here and there, but not
No.
much. But if you go to the leadership, if the policy change happens, it goes everywhere. And the same thing we should attempt. And the good thing about it, like if you, see like the IIT Madras, okay, so like they are like continuously like conducting the inner engineering program. So during the Mahashivratri, like there was like more than 4,000 people, and we have a video, and like they are regularly doing it. So similar to that one, like that is also the reason like Sadhguru is bringing out this like a miracle of the mind also. And yeah, slowly it is happening, but
It will
just
take
like
time.
just like Sadhguru says that like just dreaming is like is for the like fools and lazy people. They do not know how things works. For the people like who are willing, like you have to make it happen.
Make it happen.
uh, yeah, yeah, you
Yeah.
have to make it happen, like otherwise like it's not going to happen. You'll know that like when you'll know that when like you are hungry at your home. So
Yeah.
you can like you can postpone
Yeah.
everything, like you can postpone your work, you can postpone your friends, you can postpone going everywhere, but you cannot postpone like eating your food. So
Yeah. What exactly is sadhana? How can we put this up?
yeah, so sadhana is like a very specific and very very broad also, and it has got like a many connotations and everything, and that is where I told you that a lot of misinformation is also going on in the world, and that we need to be all wary about. But if you go into like what is a sadhana and what is the gist of it, so basically like sadhana actually comes from the etymology, like from the Sanskrit called sadh. So sadha basically means like going towards a particular direction and achieving it. So basically, sadhan, like in Hindi, it's called sadhan, and like the Sanskrit word is sadhana. So it's the word is basically like it's a tool to make you conscious. Okay, that is a straightforward word. And depending upon the type of the tool, it can do many things to you. But the main objective is to make you conscious. Because, for example, like if you use the way of the let's say like a Sadhguru always says, and like we are also aware that like we have four tangible dimensions of us. There are other dimensions to us also, but at the moment, like for most of the people or all the people, we have got four tangible dimensions. For example, like your physicality, which is your body. If you use your body and use it for the selfless action, it becomes a karma yoga. Okay, so that is a way of becoming conscious, because see, like a karma yoga is not a very easy thing. I have dealt that one like a very badly, because when I was because I started as a solo seeker, because I come from the ways of the like a Buddhas and Ramana Maharshi, like who likes to be alone and who has got like a zero social skill. Okay, Gautama Buddha was crazy. Like he was the top notch because he was a prince also, and he was destined to become a Chakravartin. Okay, so he has the crazy leadership skill. There's no parallel of like a Gautama Buddha, like in the world. Maybe like I wouldn't compare with like a Sadhguru with him. Like that would be the wrong thing to do,
Yeah.
because they are like a different timelines. But Gautama Buddha is like crazy in terms of leadership skill and all that kind of stuff. But as my point of view, like I was a solo person, so like there was no interaction with the people, zero social skill, and that will happen to many people initially. Okay, so it will take certain time to adjust and come to the reality and how to handle it, and social things and everything.
Yeah.
So coming into that one, like when you go to the karma yoga kind of sadhana, let's say karma yoga basically does not mean like doing things. Karma yoga basically means going beyond your likes and dislikes. Okay. And it's a very challenging thing because like when you are doing volunteering, like there will be some volunteers like who will be doing their life depends on that one. They don't care what they are doing. They are just like running and doing it. There will be the people like I've seen people like who will be always late for the volunteering. Like there will be the people who won't be doing anything, having a gossip and everything. Maybe like me, like having some kind of satsang on the side, discussing about Sadhguru and other things. And there will be the other people like who are just like uh, they are in the dormitory and then like a chilling entire day, like playing with the mobile because the internet is so cheap in India, and they will be appearing only during Bhiksha hall timings and everything. So your mind is going to say that I'm doing volunteering here, I'm putting so much effort, and you start comparing. Your mind will start comparing. Somebody's doing more, somebody's doing less, and everything, and now like you will be creating a poison within yourself. You'll feel bad within yourself because the moment you compare, and you'll become jealous because people are having a ride of yours, isn't it? So but like slowly as you realize, like as you go on doing and everything, you'll point to point like you'll realize that the futility of it because see like if you are like living a very bad life and everything, then everything feels normal. But if you have been living like a very ecstatic and very joyful life continuously, then even a small emotion of like jealousy, anger, hatred or something, it is going to become very contrasting. It is just like, see, like let's say, yeah, if let's say like I'll go like a little bit like a very horrible example, but just to put the point across. Let's say like there's a septic tank. Okay, in the septic tank, like if I put like a little bit of flour, you'll still see a flower. Okay, it's still flower will remain the flower. That's not an issue. But now like you have a big pot of food. Okay, let's say a small shit will fall into that food. Who is going to eat that food? You're not going to eat it. So just like that, like if you're ecstatic and fulfilled all the time, and little bit of emotion comes into the play, like it becomes very contrasting, and you'll know the full depth of pain that can actually create to yourself. And because of that reason, like people who have actually understand that, that like it hurts you, and you'll know in turn that like it hurts others also.
The moment you start respecting the work that you're doing, I think there the answer lies for you.
Correct.
Yeah, and volunteering is the best thing. I mean, just go and volunteer. That's what he said. One day you come and volunteer. You know what it is.
Yeah. So basically, like if you look from the point of view, like at that point of view, like it is about like breaking your limitations. For example, like you might be the CEO. I've seen this because I've also attended the East Inside, and there are like people who are running like crores and crores of like maybe they are making hundreds of crores of turnover every year, and they are doing, and like I've even met like one guy from like Scandinavian country. I would not pinpoint the country or something. He was like a millionaire, like in dollars and everything. So self-made millionaire, and he had come for the East Inside and everything, and people are doing like a lot of volunteering, all these kind of things are going on and everything. And so you have to go through the limitation, like at least like I wouldn't say the volunteering in other places, because if you do the volunteering at the like INGOs and everything, you'll be making in dollars. Okay, you'll be making more money than normal working people. I know that one. They are charging like thousands of dollars just for like attending 1 hour meeting. Okay, the volunteers. Okay, I'm not going to pinpoint. I'm not referring to the people who wants to put certain thing in their CV and resume because they have done volunteering. I've seen those kind of people also, because when I was doing volunteering, somebody came and then said, "Will I get the certificate for this?" So like karma yoga is one way of that one. The another way is obvious, is also like the jnana yoga. So jnana yoga is something like it is like Sadhguru actually forbids that one, because most of the people will have their own interpretation, and that is one of the reason like I post certain kind of very intense kind of stuff, but once I see like a few people have watched it and everything, like it's going well, like people are not getting triggered, then like I keep it flowing. But like if I see like a few people getting triggered or something like that, I just remove it. How truthful it is or something. The only reason is because like see, I'm not their guru. I'm just there to see like a one perspective, like a perspective and like a certain kind of perception and certain reality and everything. But I don't want people to have a conflict and everything, because like I don't have anything to win or lose in this case. The only thing is like I'm just like putting out there. Maybe it can be useful for
Yeah.
others, but people are start to fighting with each other. Arguments are throwing out and everything. Then we should avoid it, and that is the reason. Like you'll see, like my Instagram channel is the most of the cleanest, because like at the moment somebody comes and they start barking and everything, uh, to the highest degree, like I just like block them, or like I just restrict them, and you know,
Yeah.
I just delete their like comments also. So
Yes, yes. I think we need to be who we are and just do what we need to do.
yeah.
Because
Yeah,
why not?
that is one aspect of it. But the moment you take certain kind of project in your hand,
Hmm.
then like you have to adapt according to like what is
Got
needed. Because
very much
if like
true.
whatever you become is going to like
Trouble.
sacrifice the effectiveness, then you have to evolve also. That we have to
Yeah,
do.
a
So the
lot.
third dimension is basically, yeah, I was going into that one. So third dimension is the bhakti, karma, bhakti yoga and everything. I can tell you
Mm.
that like nearly 100% of the people in the world, they are not capable of bhakti yoga actually, because bhakti yoga is like a complete surrender. Yeah, but it will eventually come through the kriya yoga, and that is where, although kriya yoga is the most difficult thing to perceive for the people to understand, because like most of the people do not even know that like there's energy flowing in the body.
Mm.
Because when you see like when I was there, like I used to think that our body is just like the computer, okay, or some machine or something. So when it dies, like nothing is going to be left behind. But like going back into the the kriya yoga and everything, why Sadhguru actually promotes kriya yoga is basically like you don't need any teaching for to do kriya yoga, and just by the sheer experience and how your life is going on and how your mind is functioning and everything, then like you can get into touch with it. And then like although like kriya yoga is like a most difficult thing to understand initially, because it's not in the perspective, but the overwhelming experience is going to give the largest value, okay, because and the thing is like if you look from the perspective of the sadhana and everything, like all these four of the things are going to go together, because you cannot avoid without action. So karma
Yes,
yoga has to be there.
has to be.
You cannot avoid yourself from making decisions and thinking. So jnana yoga has to be there. You have to take like conscious action and decision and everything. So likewise, like you have got for all of this. But now, if somebody will ask you like what kind of sadhana you are doing and everything, then in that case, like you can recommend them like of course like Isha Kriya for the people like for the free and all that kind of stuff. But like if you look from the perspective, if somebody will ask you like what is a sadhana, you can say that like sadhana is just a tool to make yourself conscious. And the more conscious you become, the more things that is now hidden for you at the moment will reveal by itself. Okay, it is already there, and that is what the truth is. And there is always this Advaita kind of story. Okay, so they always use this story. You go to a room and then you know you see a rope. Okay, but since like the room was dark, like you think that like that rope is actually a snake. Okay, so the only thing that you need to is like you go and turn on the light. So basically, like the sadhana is a process like which is going to enhance your perception. And Sadhguru always gives a very great example of this, like a Kriya Yoga example is basically you have a light bulb, that is your conscious level. So when it is turned off, let's say you are not doing any sadhana or anything, you are in a deep sleep. At that moment, like your conscious level is zero. Okay, although like it's not zero, but like let's say zero in a normal terms. But now when you tune the what is little bit, that is
Voltage.
basically your like you start dreaming and all that kind of stuff is happening. Your mental activity is on. Now you tune it even up, you come alive. Okay, because waking up basically means like you have too much energy in your body to fall asleep. Okay, so when you wake up now, like all this physicality will also come into your experience. Now you even tune it up even further, then now like your body cannot handle much, your mind cannot handle anything, and that is where like the other dimension will start revealing by itself. And that is what we refer as like a spiritual, or the mystical dimensions and whatever you want to name it.
Yeah.
uh, Yeah, so but like I'll give you like a little bit of introduction here, like a few people may not know about it. So when you are talking about the sadhana, because you ask your friend actually asked you, or your
Yeah.
colleague asked you, like what you do, like you sit down or you chant mantras or like a certain kind of japas or something like that. So basically, what actually happens is like from the beginning, like I was a little bit curious about like how these things works and all that kind of things. Like if you look, like a Sadhguru himself says that like he has actually invented, created like a more than 350 different meditation techniques. Okay, so these are different ways. But as he says that like there are only 112 methods, and if you want to find the real source, and it can be useful for most of the people also, and it is very necessary that like we who are curious, they need
Mm.
to know. People who
Mm.
just want to do the sadhana and they don't care about it, it is completely fine.
Mm.
They just want to have a benefit of it, that is completely fine. But if you want to revive it in a big way, then you need to know like how it works. And if you want to know, it is like in Vijnana Vairav Tantra, and you cannot believe like it has got like a different kind of versions that is in the true tantric ways in like a Kathmandu Valley also. I found like a real tantrics, like we can actually teach you and initiate into these things.
Oh.
And if you want to go to the main source, like you have to go to Kashmir Shaivism,
Mm.
and there's a guy like who was the last guru of that Kashmir Shaivism lineage, throughout like Abhinava Gupta, like these kind of big names, and the last one was the Lakshmanju. Okay, and they actually like these 112 methods are actually categorized into only three methods actually. Okay, three categories. The first category is basically for the beginners, because when the beginner will come, if you tell him about like a spirituality and everything, they won't understand nothing.
Yes.
And even when you went to the Gautama Buddha, there was like a two types of teachings. The first type of teachings, or the Dhamma, was for the Shravakas. Shravakas are basically who is going to listen, because you do not understand anything. The first thing is listening, isn't it? Yes. And then there was another breed of teaching, which was for the teaching of the Bodhisattvas.
Mm.
So these were for the people, like, people who were just coming to the Buddha initially, used to say that, like, the cause of all your suffering is your desire. Buddha used to say. Okay. That was for the beginners.
Mm.
But for the
Mhm.
people like who are already experienced a lot of things, like he used to say that like there's no such thing as like suffering or a joy. Okay. That was the teaching for them. Okay, it is just like you go to the Samyama and you go to the inner engineering introduction. These are different kind of teachings. Okay, so coming into that one, so like these three categories, 112 methods can be categorized into the three categories. The first one is known as the like Anubhava Paya.
Mm.
Anubhava Paya basically means Anubhava basically your experience, and Upaya. Upaya is the method. Okay, or it is known as the Dharana. Okay, so why we call it the Dharana is because, see, like at the moment, like you are wearing like a necklace or something like that. The moment you wear it, that basically means the Dharan Karna in the Hindi. Okay, so the moment you wear it, wherever you go, you sleep, you fly, you swim, you whatever you do. Okay, even in your dream or something, you are still wearing it, isn't it? Yes. Yeah. So Dharana is one thing that is going to keep your awareness continuous. It should not be breaking. Okay, and that is the another word called dhara also comes. For example, the dhara, if you open a tap or a river is flowing, that is a dhara, which means it's a continuous flow.
Yes.
Okay, so why it is? Because like it starts with like keeping your awareness concentrated, that is known as the dharana, and slowly like as you keep it continuous, like it will lead you to somewhere which is known as a dhyana and samadhi
Mm.
and so on. Okay, we'll not go into that one.
Yes.
So the first one is known as the Anubhapaya. Anubhapaya is basically for the people who don't know the subtler aspect of it. It's for the beginners. For example, like mantras, they are a part of that one.
Mm.
Okay, because mantra is basically a word, it's a sound. Okay,
No.
because sound is in our perception. Okay, you can practice with the sound, you
Yes.
can practice your imagination. Imagination is also completely fine. Yes, you
Yeah.
close your eyes, you imagine like you are top of the tree or you are
Mm.
floating. You can do very easily. These things people can do it. Okay, similar to that one, like watching your breath also. If you're a little bit attentive, you can breathe. That is also in your experience. So these are all the class of the Anubhava. So making use of something that is obvious to you. Okay, they don't give like a tools that is the next level. Okay, because people will run away already. So the next breed is known as the Saktopaya. Saktopaya actually comes from the using the Sakti as a upaya, which is like a little bit subtle in nature. For example, like a kundalini or energies or like a, different kind of rituals and all these kind of things actually comes under like locking the chakras and like pranayam and different kind of bandhas and everything. They will come into like controlling the flow of your energy in your system. This all comes under the category of the saktopaya. Okay, this is a little bit subtler. So this is given to the people like a word more committed into the sadhana, because how powerful your sadhana is, the more risk there is also. That is the reason like lot of time is taken for your initiation, lot of guidelines is given like how many times you can do it, like how much duration you should do it and everything. Because I have met like a lot of people like who have overdone it, overdoses it. And if you refer to the research that is done by the NIMHAMS, Bengaluru, there is like a one Anna like who is actually doing very rigorously the research on like Isha practices and everything. They have actually found that out of the 100 people that goes into the like mental asylum, nearly like a 10% or more people are actually the victims of like doing the book yoga, or now like you can say like Instagram yoga. Okay. So these people see like just like Sadhguru says, and like many people have said, and even like if you have watched the Sadhguru Sri Brahma's documentary, Prem KV Anna was also a victim of the book yoga. Okay, he has also tried a book. He has found a book that was left behind by his grandfather, and he practiced that one, and he was like landed into the hospital actually. Okay. So for the people like who do yoga just for the experimental sake, like there's no risk. But if you overdo it, it has got a lot of risk, because not only that, it's a common sense actually, but common sense is not common after all. For example, like water is good for you, isn't it? Yes, water is good for you. Yes, but do you know like how much water you should drink? You know, isn't it? Yeah, maybe not even a full glass you are going to drink at a time. Same thing applies for your sadhana and meditation also. But like some people will go on sitting, closing their eyes, meditating for entire day. You can actually go mad. I can guarantee you that much. Okay. You go and chant like some kind of mantra that you have found in the internet. Like some people just they're doing it just because like they want to go their videos viral and everything.
Because also they know that there is something to gain.
Correct. Yeah, that's what it is. It has become a marketplace. So, so the third approach, the third one is known as the Sambhopaya. Okay, from Anubhava, which is in your experience, you go to the energies, which is the Sakti. And from the Sakti, Sakti is basically like Anubhava is something, you are making use of something that is already within you. Saktabhaya is like a little bit more about you are using the external thing also. That is basically the way of the Tantra and everything. But the third one is basically the Sambhopaya, is basically you are completely using the external source. Okay, for example, like when you go to Sadhguru Darshan, you simply sit. That is what is the Sambhopaya. You go to the temple, you go and simply sit. That is the Sambhopaya. So it is just like the elevator. Okay. For example, like Anubhava is something like you not only want to walk by yourself, you want to build your own road also. It's a very, very terrible and more difficult thing to do, because your mind cannot trust. Yes? Yeah. Cannot trust easily? No. Most of the people cannot even trust their family members and like their like partners and everything else. That is why all these kind of rubbish movies are being made, and all these terrible songs are being made, and people enjoy those terrible songs, isn't it? Yes, yeah. So basically, like trust is missing. Because of that reason, you have to go with Anubhava. But as you experience further, and when you accepted your guru as a guru, okay, you know the significance of guru and everything. Then you simply sit here like now. See, Saktobhaya is something. Yeah, Saktobhaya is something. You create your own energy, like you you're doing your kriya or something like that. That is also like very rudimentary, like compared to Sambhopaya. Because Sambhopaya is basically you surrender, you become available to it. No sadhana is needed. Okay. So basically you sit here and then simply like that. So that is a Sambhopaya. So whenever we take people to the yatras and everything, we take a lot of precaution to all these kind of things. That is the reason like you should not go on your own wherever you want to sit. All these things are needed and everything, which is missing in the world. And that is the reason like if you go to the Nepal or something like that, or even in the Kamakya or like many other places, when people come like only where it's fully crowded places, like that is very conducive for you to meditate for a long period of time. Otherwise, like many people places like which has been abandoned for some period of time, some occult things are going on or something like that. Just because like energy is very good, like you should not be spending too much time unless you do not know. So that is what this Sambhava is all about. So you need to know like what you just said. Any of the enlightened beings, samadhi, that is more than enough. But it still has a limitation.
Yes.
Okay. So that is
It's
the reason
always
like people always want to go to the samyama and they want to go and sit in the samyama with Sadhguru again and again. That is not the right approach. You go for the samyama one times, then you go for the samyama sadhana. Okay. Because Sadhguru always says the word that, says that the main objective of the spiritual practice is to create the dynamo within yourself. Okay.
Yeah.
So you don't need the another. That's the reason like whenever people ask me certain things, I always give them like this analogy that you can either meditate in the presence of like a very high energy space, or you have to generate your own energy. And generating your own energy is the best way to do it. For example, like I'm in the US at the moment, like for me it's no difference like whether I'm in like sitting inside the Dhanalinga or like any other Kailash or anywhere, like that's not a big difference for me, because my sadhana is on. And like and another thing is, there is these three actually falls under the category of 112 methods. There is another one also, which is the fourth one. The fourth one is known as the Anupaya. So there's no method for that one. Yeah, there's no method for that one. Yeah. So for example, if you look into the category of Sadhguru, no sadhana is needed. It's already there. But to reach there, you have to exhaust all your possibilities.
Yeah.
So basically, like if somebody is saying, so when a life guru is here, you should be targeting towards the Sambhavaya and then the Anupaya. When the guru is there. If the guru is not there, then you are in the mercy of all these like YouTubers, like Instagrammers and book yoga and everything. You are in the mercy of that one. That is the reason like there was always this kind of you can say wisdom of the ancient people. Even your parents and everybody has, even though they may not be doing the sadhana. There's only two things. So one thing is like you have a Kul Devata. Okay, Kul Devata is there. That is for the external energy source. And the another thing was the pilgrimage. Because when you are going on a pilgrimage, that the process of the pilgrimage is like it was very difficult. It's not like now that like you want to go to the Kedarnath. Now they are going to build this like cable car. Okay.
Yeah.
So how you are going to face the limitations, isn't it? Yes or no? Yes. When you are going a pilgrimage, you have to face a lot of challenges and everything.
Yeah.
The moment you go over there, like you are already wear down. Okay. There is very little bit of you is left, isn't it? Yes. So the little bit of you are left, then you can try like a Sambhavaya. If there is more of you is left, then you have to go with the Anubhavaya, because no trust is there. You can become zero only when you are like completely trustworthy, isn't it? Yes. Yeah. Why this like excessive enlightenment? Why 15,000 people were there? Most of the people, I would not say most of the people wanted to be with Sadhguru, and most of the people were there because like they know they are fully trusted, isn't it? Yes. So you can close your eyes.
I think with all of this 112 to coming to 3 and 4, there's, I mean, he always says, not only he, all the enlightened beings say, but people fail to realize that. To come to a state of Anupaya, you need to go through all that.
It's not necessary also, because
not necessary. You can be, but then people who want to actually, or who want to understand what it is, because most of the people are enlightenment. Okay, I need to reach there. Okay, then what I should do? Give me the list. And I mean that is also okay. Who wants to seek that, or who are running behind it, or it's a process for each and every individual. There are some people who just sit and it's just there. They don't need all that steps to climb and be there. They just know, I don't need to do anything. It's just
like this. I'll tell you like this. Just like you said, even my life, and even you must have also realized that initially because of like when you were born and everything, the only experience we had was like your 5 senses and the sense of temperature. Yes. So if it is too cold or too hot, like you are going to cry. You don't know anything else.
Didn't know anything.
So because of all that kind of things, slowly like you decided, you came to the conclusion that like this body is me. Yes, because it feels hungry, you eat the food, it feels good. So you want to protect this body initially. So it has
Yeah.
come. But let's say like you come with that rigidness, and then like somebody says that like we need to walk like 10 kilometers, and now there are like trains available, buses available, and everything. Now you say that okay, I don't like all these trains and everything. I want to walk on my own.
Yeah.
So maybe like after 5 kilometers, 10 kilometers, let's say the road is very bad, then you'll realize that like you have made a mistake. There are better ways also. So basically, like why I'm telling you this is like on all these kind of things is because this kind of science is missing in the world. Okay, more people need to know. Okay, it's very difficult. For example, like if you just go and start researching this, you may never know these things exist also. Okay, somebody has to tell you this. So
Yes.
basically, like what the guru actually does is like he's not only technically using like only one method. He's going to use the cocktail of all these methods. Okay,
Yes.
so that is why like you see like a lot of different practices. Like they involve like a pranayam, they involve the mantra chanting, and they involve like stillness and all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
Okay, so all this kind of thing has been like calibrated and cocktailed and delivered it to you so that
Okay.
everything is going to work by itself. That's a different thing altogether. But the eventually, like if you want to progress to anupaya in this lifetime,
Yeah.
you have to come into the senses that like you cannot do on your own.
Yeah.
Okay.
Otherwise, you wouldn't have been here in the first place. If you were in the Anupaya, you hadn't need to come here and do all of this. But then if you're still doing it, that means there's a need for you to clear
No,
certain...
see, like what is going to happen is like karma is like crazy stuff.
Yes.
Okay, so even if you are in an anupaya or something like that, it can fail you down because I'll tell you like there's a story of like Punja Babaji coming back to Ramana Maharshi in Kauta. So Punja Babaji was actually born enlightened actually. Okay, but his mother, because he used to be stoned all the time, and then but like his mother was like a very ardent like Krishna Bhakta, and she used to say that like you are able to do this because of the Krishna's grace and everything. Again, nothing wrong. I'm not like going saying like this or that or anything. I'm just narrating the story. Okay. So because of that reason, like he has been taught by his mother that like this has all happened because of the Krishna. So you should be doing Krishna japa and practices and everything. Yeah. And he went back to like the the Sambhava, like Anubhava. He went back because of his mother. So a wrong guidance can actually do all those kind of things. And he went to all these kind of places and he actually lost that experience. He lost his experience and everything because
most of the people that they get lost because of the environment for however reason, because that's again the karmic structure is what I believe. So yeah.
Yeah. So when he made Ramana Maharshi and then like when he experienced all that came back and everything, and he realized that like it was already there long time back with him. So.
Yes, I mean I think that's the life, that's the process. And having a life master is a blessing for people who have been lost in this manner, because once in times this moment where you just get pricked and you're like, oh yes, this is where I should go, and that's a blessing.
Yes.
So for people who don't know what exactly, because I see that I keep posting on and off something about this is the sadhana. This is, for me, there's a different understanding of how I see sadhana, how I live my life. Like that, this different for every individual. Even every another enlightened being also has his own ways to do it, right?
Yeah.
For the people who see this, they're trying to understand what should they do. Like, okay, you're doing this sadhana. So what is sadhana? I want to understand. I want to go ahead in my life. So what can I do? So when there are people like this, what is this something that you can tell? Okay, this is the...
Yeah, that is actually like a very, very straightforward at the moment. So basically, like I see, like if you're looking for the success in your life, okay, there are only two barriers. One barrier is the external environment, which you have very, very less control. Okay, it can change any moment. Yes, you agree with that one? It can be anything. For example, like the stock market can go up, down, everything. The government can change. The war can happen. The peace can happen. Like people who love can fault at any moment. We can also fault at any moment, isn't it? External thing you cannot have control over it. So that is the external challenges. That is one aspect of it. Now, let's say for example, that is one aspect. And there is another barrier which is created by yourself, within yourself. For example, if you think, let's say, if you have read a book of Stephen Covey, okay, there's a book called 7 Habits of highly successful people, effective people. So in that one, he gives one strategy in which, see, there are 4 ways to live. One way is a win-lose, another one is lose-win, another one is a lose-lose, and the fourth one is the win-win. Okay. The moment you are you see another person as a competitor, you are already defeated. Okay. Because your entire life is supported by everybody else. Even the clothes you are wearing, the lamps in your background and everything, it is made by somebody else. Isn't it? Yes or no? Yes. You cannot exist out of this universe, this existence and everything. The only way is to go cooperatively. Now the another thing is, now lot of these challenges, the another challenges is you are creating by yourself, within yourself. For example, that has happened because you are living based on your past accumulated data. You're not living right now, in the present. Okay, that is the reason people who live in their mind every year they come with the conclusion, oh, I understood my life, and they find a way to live your life, and next year they have been clean bowled by the life. Okay. And they come with a new philosophy again. Okay, they go on generating new philosophy. Yes. They think that okay, I figured it out life, and then they go on like that. So basically there are 2 challenges. One is the external challenges, which we don't have much of a control. That will depend on many things. The another one is challenges within yourself. Okay. So basically just like Sadhguru says, the external challenges, you need the cooperation of the other people, and you have to develop the competency for that one. Okay. But the one that is the challenge yourself, for example, somebody will say, okay, we see a lot of people, okay, even in the workplace or something like that, some people will try to give up very quickly. Okay. Yes. Because they cannot understand. Then they need support or certain kind of thing. So basically what the sadhana actually does is it is going to remove the friction, your part of the friction within yourself. Because if you want to navigate the world and you use this body as the instrument and your mind as an instrument or something, it has to work the best way possible, isn't it? Yes or no? Yes. Yeah. But at the moment, you wake up in the morning, the first thing you want to do it is go for the coffee. Okay. Yeah. So that basically means your energy is not taken care of well. Okay. And you are getting sick all the time. Okay. Then your body is already done. For example, if you ask me I have traveled extensively and everything, you don't need to worry about that only because of the sadhana. For other people, even I have not reached to the phase of Sadhguru's ability, because Sadhguru can actually handle multiple time zones in a single day. Okay. Because for me, when I come from US to Nepal or Nepal to US or India to US, or when you flip that one, it will take at least 10 to 14 days just to keep that corrected, the planetary sync up with the planetary movement and everything, your sleep cycle and everything. Yeah. So basically it can vastly improve. And another thing is at the moment your mind is the biggest challenge, because your mind want to fix everything in the world. Yes. Your mind is very perfect oriented. Okay. Yeah. But the reality is not like that. At the moment the reality and your mind are off sync. So that is the reason there's a lot of friction getting built up in your system. So when you do your sadhana, then first thing the energy in your body is going to get integrated. Your body will start to become healthy. And the final thing is all these things will find certain direction, your mind and everything. With that one, there will be no friction within you, which basically means there are 3 benefits that I always used to say during my sharings and everything. The first thing is you'll have infinite number of energy, you will be energetic all the time whenever you want to do it. Just the meaning of willingness. Okay, you will get a lot of energy. You will get. Another thing is you will be happy all the time. You don't need any reason for that one. Yeah. And another thing is you will have a clarity. So clarity is very, very important thing in life, because at the moment we are just trying to become somebody else, and that is actually creating the limitation. Yeah, that's the problem. So
Basically, it is all about the health, the physical health,
Yeah,
the mental health, and the
yeah,
emotional health,
yeah, correct. Yeah.
well-being.
So basically, like these are the things that is going to you have to manage because see, like if you want to do something in the world and you want to become successful, the first barrier you need to remove is yourself because your mind is going to say eventually, oh, I cannot do it. Okay,
So
then it's already success is zero already, isn't it? Yes, yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So if your mind is willingness, when your mind is willingness, then comes the the intention of doing it. When your intention of doing it, then comes the intention of learning also, isn't it?
yeah,
It's a learning, continuous learning process. Yeah. So we can use Sadhguru as an example. So basically, like if you somebody asks you, then what you need to give like a simple answer you can give is spiritual process or like let's say Shambhavi Mahamudra Kriya or any of the yogic practices, whatever you're doing, it's just a way of like upgrading your system
yeah.
so that you can manage your health better, your like your emotions better. Everything is going to get better, and we have got like a lot of scientific studies to back there also, so that like you can handle everything better. So let's say you will not get triggered by itself. And if you want to see like again going back to the same thing, you are the charge of your own happiness
Happiness.
because eventually like whether you are seeking going to just like Sadhguru says, you are going to the temple or you are going to the bar or you are going to Isha Yoga center. You are
Doing
eventually looking forward to is like your own well-being.
own well-being.
Yeah, correct.
Yes, and to assess this, the mental, physical, and emotional well-being, you need to.
Yeah,
I mean, to assess
yeah,
this, these are
yeah.
the tools basically.
That is where like these different practices will come into the play. That is the
Yeah.
one of the reason I gave you the background of these 112 methods. And for example, like see, like if you look into the 112 methods and everything, you should not be practicing them. I'm just giving you the context and everything because every sadhana actually has got certain kind of possibilities and certain kind of limitations. For example, let's say like you know how to chant a mantra, but how long can you chant a mantra? After a while, like you will get tired. Like if the mantra is very very powerful, it can program your energy body. The main objective of the mantra and any of the kriya yoga is basically to program your energy body because
Energy body.
what
Yes.
we call as what you call as a bondage is one kind of configuration of your energy body, and what we call as a liberation is another configuration of your energy body. If like what you call as yourself listens to yourself, then that's a freedom, isn't it? That's a liberation. If it does not listen to you, then yeah, it's not a freedom.
Sort of freedom.
Yeah.
Yeah. So to
So
start, yeah,
yeah. So coming back to the sadhana you were asking and everything. So just like I said, like a mantra has one kind of possibilities. Going into the temple has another kind of possibilities and everything. So basically, like if you look for the very wholesome aspect and everything, Shambhavi Mahamudra Kriya is the full package. Okay,
yeah,
because Sadhguru gives the analogy of three triangles. So you have got a body, you have got emotions, and you have got the energies. Okay, and mind also. So basically, like when you are doing a sadhana and everything, like it puts everything into the same plane, and they are all like looking
align.
towards the one direction.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it takes like only 21 minutes and everything. But like if you are doing certain kind of other practices, like which does not need any initiation or something, they will have like a certain kind of limitations, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it completely depends on like what kind of practices you're doing.
So if you, I mean, to do sadhana, do you really need to get initiated by a guru, or just you can simply do it by yourself? This is the
So basically, see, like I will tell you like one funny thing and everything. Some people might get triggered, some people might find it funny. So basically, like at the moment, like whenever I meet a lot of people and everything, like most of the people say like I'm unable to do my sadhana, like
yeah.
I need to go to the ashram and I need like to see
Lot of
Sadhguru,
challenge.
and then and there were like Sadhguru also even joked that like many people were doing sadhana only during the weekends or like only on the full moon nights or maybe during the ecstasy of enlightenment. Okay.
Yeah.
So basically at the moment, like what people are actually referring to is basically they want even like a Sadhguru to do their own sadhana also. Okay. Okay, Sadhguru, like please do my sadhana for me. Now, see, one thing what you need to keep in mind is like there are two ways to live, just like Sadhguru says. Okay, one way is like if you are looking for the liberation, no sadhana is needed. But like there's a catch. Like you should be you should be able to accept whatever is coming in your life
Yeah.
and not complaining, which is needed. nearly impossible.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's
So if you do that, then it might take lifetimes and lifetimes, but you are eventually going to get dissolved 100%. Because if you just accept everything that is coming in your life and do not complain, then you are not creating like a new karma. The old karma is getting expanded by itself. But
yes.
now, like coming back to like initiated and non-initiated or something like that, what is going to happen is initiation and like whatever the kriya yoga and everything is involved is more like a energy connection between the guru and the disciple. Okay. So with that, what is going to happen is technically, like the one thing you need for the liberation, even if you are not doing the Shambhavi Mahamatra Kriya after you are initiated, it's very hardcore. Okay, what I'm sharing and everything. That is the reason, like I usually used to remove these videos and everything. Hopefully, like people will not have even enough endurance to go all the way to this talk. Okay, because most of the people will not watch. I can see number is 37, 42, and these are like all new people. Okay, these are all
New
new people. They don't even know what is going on here. Okay, this is what I refer as a Abhimanyu syndrome. You know Abhimanyu syndrome, yeah.
no.
Half knowledge is
Oh yeah.
is very crazy stuff.
Yeah.
So going into this one, see what we actually call as a the initiation and everything. If it is done in a very crazier way, and in the Buddhism also it exists. Like Zen Buddhism, it still has that one. In which like the enlightened guru is going to transmit everything what he knows to the disciple in one go. And without the initiation, you cannot meditate, because initiation has got two aspects. Initiation is like, for example, like let's say you went to the market and I know like the tariffs are going on and then the mobile phones are going to get more and more expensive. But let's say you got your latest iPhone, let's say. Now, initially the iPhone is very dumb phone because it cannot do many things. Yes, it doesn't have like Instagram, let's say. It doesn't have a Google Map, or like it doesn't have your favorite shopping apps and everything. It doesn't have anything.
Yeah.
Okay. So what you need to do, even if you have the most expensive phone, it cannot do anything. So what you have to do, you have to go to the app store, you have to download all these apps. Now finally, whoa, nice. You didn't, do you have to like build that app? No. Did you have to test this app? No. You just simply download it and simply use it. And now finally, like whatever you are unable to do, you can do magically. Same thing, through my experience and like through, because I've done volunteering and everything, I can see that people who have never known what is meditation or what is a spiritual process, or they have never done meditation. For example, like the way I came is like a very difficult kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that is the reason I know the hurdles and challenges and everything. And the only reason I'm online and sharing all these things is because I don't want other people to go through the same way I've gone. And Sadhguru is also here only because of that. For example, if Sadhguru took like 3 lifetimes, Buddha took like many, many, many lifetimes. Okay. And if Sadhguru takes 3 lifetimes, and if his disciples also takes 3 lifetimes, then it's no good. You got to point what I'm saying. Okay.
Yeah,
So
very.
basically, what the initiation is basically is just like you install a new app through the initiation process. Now, like Sadhguru is going to work on your like subtler bodies which you don't have access, which Sadhguru refers to as Vijnanamaya Kosha. Okay. So once you have that app installed in your system called Shambhavi Mahamudra Kriya, you sit down and you can experience, like you can go into meditative states effortlessly. So without the initiation, you just try and sit down. Thoughts are running all over the place, like all these kind of crazy things are going in your system. Yeah. So that is one aspect of it. Another thing, like Sadhguru also refers, like specific to this. This is also known as the consecration. So if you just do your Shambhavi every day, it is just like sitting in front of the powerful temple.
Yes.
And meditating. Okay, so these are the another thing. And the third thing is, once the energy dimension is connected with Sadhguru, once the initiation has happened, people has a misunderstanding. Okay, you are accessing Sadhguru. You cannot access Sadhguru unless you have certain mastery. It is why you are doing the sadhana is allowing the Sadhguru to access you. Okay, because at the moment, like the personality is too much.
Yeah.
The personality is too much. Like I've got like after this, we are having this very nice conversation, and few of the people are glued onto this conversation. But like, okay, after this, like a call, like what I need to do, the mind is already might be thinking. So because of all that kind of thing, like it is going to be very, very difficult. But as I've said, like through the initiation, and even if you are unable to do your sadhana, just nurturing that one, and like at least just like a foundation, you got to get a foundation correct, and you become a little bit devoted and everything, nature and everything, liberation is guaranteed, even if you are not doing Shambhavi. That
right. So, I mean, there are people who follow Isha. There are people who follow somebody else. Um, at the same time, there are people who don't follow anyone
yeah, correct,
and
correct.
want to.
Yeah,
But when they go to a certain person
yeah,
who can guide them,
yeah.
they're not ready yet because they're not ready for that commitment of doing it.
No,
Because sadhana is not
that
that
is completely fine. Yeah, that is completely fine. You cannot see, just like I said, like we came back to the same problem like we had discussed earlier.
earlier.
See, I'll ask you a question, simple question, okay, and you'll know the answer by itself, okay. If somebody will come to you and then try to convince you something, are you going to agree with them?
No.
So basically, like, how can you say that, like, you want to convince someone and they are going to agree?
They're going
It works both ways.
both the ways.
So the best thing is, for example, like why I'm in the internet and I'm sharing all these things and different things is because of the one and only reason. Because I'm a case study that like a Isha Foundation and Sadhguru works. You got my point?
Yeah.
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 So people need a proof. For example, like I see, like during the Mahakumbh, like I will tell you like one of the market kind of disaster I have done. I will tell you. So I thought that like like most of the people, even you might have thought, and many people have thought, okay, it's a quite funny thing. So basically, what has actually happened is like nowadays like there's a drop shipping kind of business is going on and everything, and I created a very nice design of Mahakumbh, and like I started using like a Facebook marketing and all that kind of stuff, and it reached to many people. But what has actually happened is most of the people are actually looking for the proof. Okay, they want it, but they want a proof. They're like, okay, like, are you the genuine guy? Like, who are actually going to, ship the T-shirts and everything and all that kind of stuff? Because the world is full of scammers and everything. Okay, and that
Also,
is what
results.
yeah, that is what I've told earlier also. That is where like this trust issue will come. Okay, so the only way of going through that one is by giving them the free tools. Okay, you start with Isha Kriya, do for like a few days, no commitment, it's free. So free basically means like most of the people, at least like out of 100 people, like one person is going to do.
Yes.
You should not be optimistic. The moment you become optimistic in this world, you are preparing yourself for frustration. I can guarantee you that much. Because the only reason like it has become very difficult task is because, see, it's a pain of like volunteers and everything, I'll tell you. It has become like a nearly 20 to 30 years Sadhguru has been conducting classes.
Yes.
And at that time, how difficult it was for Sadhguru to like fill the class, it is still the same thing happening. Yeah. For example, now like if the number of volunteers we have, like let's say like millions and millions of it, if you think that was absolutely the case and everybody was 100% willing and coming out and doing things, the class at the moment like we announce the class, it should be full, isn't it? For example, we have conducted so many yatra and many people have got so much profound experiences or something, but when we request them to share a little bit about it, people won't do it. And it is not for me. For me, like I don't need temples, I don't need to conduct these yatras. But one reason I'm conducting this yatra because I saw few thirsty people, and to find the thirsty people is very very fortunate thing. The only reason I'm doing this podcast is because you are thirsty and you want to learn these things, and like there are more people, you know that it will be beneficial for other people also. That is the reason like I'm like making myself available here, and I'm more privileged that like I'm able to like speak with seekers and everything, because it's a very very rare thing. Because the only reason it has happened is because, see, there are two dimensions of you. One is the physicality, another one is what we refer as the spiritual dimension. In the physical dimension, the more you share, the more poor you become. You have to understand. For example, you have 10 rupees, you start giving out one rupee, eventually like you will have zero and you will become bigger. But what you actually refer as a spiritual dimension is something, there's no limit. It's a limitless dimension. The more you share, the more it will become. For example, I'm sharing because I'm overflowing. Okay, Sadhguru is sharing because he's overflowing, isn't it? For example, if Sadhguru is sharing like his money or like his bank account or like his clothes and everything, you know what is going to happen? Everybody is going to become Naga Sadhu after that. By default. So
I mean, it's there, it needs to spread.
Yeah, so basically what I'm saying is creating a simple video or a content sharing that like this thing was, you don't even need to credit Sadhguru, you don't need to credit me, or you don't need to credit any guru. You can just say that, okay, I went to this temple, I did this sadhana, and then I experienced certain things, and it is going to be useful for you. Because see, we want like a very nice world to live, okay,
Here we
without
that karma yoga, jnana yoga, all the four.
Yeah.
If one has to do this, then I think the application of that
Correct,
has to be
correct.
happening.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
So basically what I'm saying is like we want the world to be transformed, okay? But whatever we are doing at the moment is like we're just saying Sepsual only to each other. A Isha meditator is saying Sepsual to another Isha meditator. Do you think like we're going to Sepsual like this? No, it's not going to happen.
not going to happen.
So basically this is what it is. For example, like you have to make more and more organic content, okay? Because see, like when you feel that, okay, you have found something precious, okay, if it is going to get lost or somebody is going to steal it, then you need to be very careful. For example, like you might have so many bars and bars of gold or diamonds or something, you need to hide them, okay, that is completely makes sense. But you are ecstatic and you are feeling joyful, and but nowadays, like if you are joyful and ecstatic, like another person is going to get angry, okay, why you are smiling without any reason.
Oh yes.
Yeah, so some people might be going like something is not going well. Yeah.
Yeah, they'll be like, "Are you okay?"
See, like I'll tell you, like one of the icebreaker to the conversation in the world. Do you know what it is? It is about like like weather. How is the weather today? Okay, so that is it. Like okay, it was like this, nice and everything.
Yeah.
That's the icebreaker and everything. That is a quite unfortunate thing and everything, because the entire mood depends on the weather. Because like it is another way of saying that in the past, whenever you meet the people, they used to ask you that like have you eaten a food, isn't it? Yes, yeah, that was the way in the past. But now you have to say like is the weather like okay, the weather is good, yeah, it was bad. Basically means it means like you are caring about another person. The word weather is now resonates with that one, because basically you can give them the memory of the yesterday was like a very sunny and everything. At least like today is not sunny, you are feeling bad, but yesterday was sunny, so that gives the hope for them. But that is how like a sad thing has happened, because like we are missing the reality now, and then like living in our own fantasies and like our desires. So
Yeah. So any specific rituals that we need to do, or is it that we can do sadhana anytime we want?
For basically like for what reason?
Like anyone who is doing it, basically.
No, see, first thing what you need to keep in mind is like the first thing before doing anything, you need to have like your destination fixed, first of all, what you want to do.
Yes.
So usually like let's say you have got certain kind of things happening in your life, like challenges are coming and everything, and that is absolutely the right reason like everybody has to do the sadhana, okay, because like without handling the like mundane things in your life, you cannot go towards the ultimate, okay, because even Sadhguru says that like see, yatra is for the luxury thing nowadays, okay, it's a luxury thing nowadays, because nobody has a time to go on a pilgrimage nowadays, because you get only day off only on Saturdays and Sundays. How can you go on a pilgrimage by walking, isn't it? Yes or no? The moment you come back, like somebody has already taken up your job, now you become by default a yogi. Even though you are not spiritual. So these challenges exist. But if you want to handle like do the spiritual dimensions and everything, you need to create time and space. So because of that reason, like a Kriya Yoga is the best one, because you just need to have like a small period of time. Now the rituals and everything will come into the play to overcome certain kind of like situations in your life. Okay. There are two ways. Like one way is if you have read, like Sadhguru has also mentioned, there are two basic ways of like main ways of doing the sadhana. One is the pragna, way of the pragna, which is the way of the awareness, and there's another way is the way of the samadhi, which is the way of the energies and ecstasies. Okay, so the Buddhist way is actually a way of the pragna, because it's 100% logical. You can never get lost, but unless you are like a hardcore, and you have to become consciously like an animal. because animal is certain thing, like it's very instinctive. The moment it has certain thing, it cannot go other ways. Okay, change the direction. But now, like if you look into the, it's sad that like we have to use the way of the animal, because that's a different thing altogether. But now, like if you want to go for the way of the ecstasies and everything, that is the best way to go. Okay, because now what is going to happen is like if you are doing the sadhana basically means is, for example, like see, even if you go through like books and like even go to the discourse and even through your experience also, like even though we may not know what is the karma and everything, we can actually see the impact of the karma, isn't it? Yes, yeah. Something is happening in our life, something is going in cycle. Okay, yes. So because of that reason, we know that like something known as the karma exists and everything. Now there are two ways to deal with the karma. One way is the way to deal with the karma is letting the karma manifest by itself and handle it. So if you want to do that, you can go through the rituals and everything. And the another way of dealing with it is like you go into the state of samadhi and you dissolve those karma before manifesting it in the energy dimension by itself. Okay. Now, again, like whether you want to use the rituals or not completely depends upon like whether that is available to you or not. Okay. That's where like although we say that like many things about like this Shivoham, like Adi Shankaracharya is saying, many people do not know that like when this like this Nirvana Shatakam is being chanted, it is actually only talking about the Agna Chakra and the Sahasrara. It is not talking about the lower parts of the dimensions. If you want to handle the lower parts of the dimensions, then you need to use the rituals and everything, because that is the physical dimensions. And again, like if you want to use something external to it, ritual is basically nothing but the tantra by itself. Okay, tantra basically means like using the external for your aid and everything. Of course, like the external and internal are no different. Okay, for example, like I can say that like I'm one with the universe, but it's still like I'm wearing a jacket and everything. Yeah. So these are like different things. You need to have understanding of like all that kind of stuff. So the first thing what actually happens is, what you want from your life, and you do not need to have what other people are doing. Okay, you need to find your own thing that like what resonates with you. For example, like that is the reason like even though like Sadhguru came here only for the Dhanalinga, now he went on from like consecrating the Devi to Nandi to like Trishula, Shula, Mahashula, and everything has gone, and now he is like consecrating yantras and sannidhis and everything. Yes. This has gone only because like people were unable to make use of the sadhana in the most effective way. Because like if you just give into the sadhana, I'm like a living example. Okay, I'm not boasting or anything, but I'm saying like as a case study, because if it works for me, it works for everyone. Okay. Yeah. So if you just give into the sadhana, like rather than doing like let's say like keeping a goal of like a 10-year, 12-year sadhana, if you just do the sadhana for at least like let's say like a month or something intensely, like many things are going to happen. And spiritual process is something you cannot reverse it, whatever change, because that is the curse as well as a boon of a memory. Okay. Curse is basically means that like like whatever has happened in your life, you cannot remove it. And same thing is like whatever has entered. For example, like if you go to a certain kind of deity, and if you have meditated there in certain point of view, and if you add a little bit of devotion with that one, next time you come back, the deity is going to recognize you, that you have arrived. Yeah. And the way you interact with the deity is going to be completely different with other deities. So that connection is going to help you out. So basically like what you are talking about, rituals and everything, is basically like breaking that pattern threshold. And Sadhguru puts out like a very simple words that sadhana is something that you do by yourself. Ritual is something that you do like if you don't have very dedicated sadhana with you. And another thing is like it can actually help you help not only you, but like it will make like make it conducive for other people also. For example, like everything known as the like whatever has a connotation with like a puja, for example like a guru puja, or like when you go to the linga vairavi, all these kind of processes, it is not only about the single person but everybody. But the limitation, just like Sadhguru says, that it has got a certain kind of thing, because like a certain discipline is needed for you to do it. If you do it in the wrong way, then
Yeah.
it is going to go bad also.
So yeah, I mean, if one has to do certain sadhana, then it is a certain practice. It is a certain
Correct. Yeah.
dedicated
First thing, like it completely depends on like what you want to achieve
achieve.
there. That's
Yes. Once you
that's
focus, then there is nothing to ask about. Okay, what should I do? And you're
correct.
there.
Correct.
You're just
Correct. Yeah. So
most people
if,
fail there.
yeah, if you are sensible enough, then like you want to have the best tool, isn't it? Yes or no? Yes.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
basically means like going for the advanced programs and dedicated certain period of sadhana until you reach to that phase of anupaya. And though more intensely you do, like the faster you can go, because like how you can dissolve the karma is like a crazy stuff. You cannot believe. Like it will look like a mountain, but with the intervention of the guru and external help and like with your sadhana or something, you can dissolve within a minute also, or even a moment. So that's why like this Sadhguru refers to a word called like a kala bhairava yatana and everything. So you must have heard that term.
Yeah. Yeah. I have
40
heard.
seconds.
Most of the people, I mean, they don't look at it. I mean, at least where I am, around
Yeah.
me, I see many people to be understanding what spiritual is, or even walking on it, because they are into a different world
Correct.
altogether. But
Yeah.
then the more they're seeing, the more they listen, the more they
Yeah.
experience something happening around them, then they're curious to know what it is and how it is.
Yeah.
And I think, yeah, just
I think like Tamanna Bhatia is the one like who is actually speaking out very loudly and everything,
yeah,
like talking more about the sadhana only. There are other like actresses also, so we actually need like a more
people
people
who
and need more like a social proof out there. That is what like
people
I
are
our
looking.
effort is only because of that, like making it mainstream.
Yeah, yeah.
For example, like we are taking people to the temple and people are meditating and like
Most
things are
of
happening to them.
people who are in my contact,
Yeah.
whatever we are speaking, I don't think they would understand much of what we are talking. But then a little
No, that
virtual
is
thing.
fine. That is fine. Just like I said earlier, that like it needs actually like a very collective effort and everything, because wherever you see like you see the same thing,
Yeah.
eventually you are going to use it. That is the way of marketing, isn't it? Yes or no? Yes. For example, like why people are drinking Coca-Cola, it is like not healthy. It's not good for the environment also, but people are still drinking because it's a good marketing. Yes, yeah, good marketing, but the shit thing. So basically, like we have a good thing, but like we're not doing marketing because all the meditators, they have become like a miser about sharing their experiences. Yes or no? Yes,
Yeah,
this is the reality.
yeah, unfortunately. But soon it will change.
Yeah,
We can.
no, it is not going to change. Like we have to change
Yeah.
it. Like we have to make it happen. That's what.
Oh, I see
This is one thing.
how
Yeah, this is one thing. Like
differently.
I'm little bit like irritated with this thing that Sadhguru is going to take care of
Oh
everything,
my.
and that is not the right approach. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Because see, if we look into the Sadhguru and then see that okay, Sadhguru is going to take everything by itself, and if Sadhguru also has said that my Guru is going to take care of itself, then like there would be no Dalananga, would be no Ishaga, there would be nothing, isn't it?
Um, on on this point, it's. I mean, I have experienced with few people in and around
Yeah,
there. On this note,
yeah,
that yeah, they are doing the sadhana. There is
correct,
that process
correct,
happening about
correct.
things, and they're like, yeah, it will happen. I mean, there are a lot of talks of whatever they've heard. It's just there, but then when they act, when they behave, when they see, when they think, it's still the same. So
Yeah,
I mean, you genuinely need to question yourself
yeah,
or sit with yourself, understand or analyze a little bit. I'm not asking you to do that
yeah,
whole
yeah,
shadow
yeah,
work thing, but
yeah,
just sit
yeah.
with your basic actions every single day of how you're behaving with yourself, how you're behaving with the front
No,
person.
it has actually happened. I'll tell you like yeah, I've actually seen that like in many places, and it's a big challenge also. Like certainly, like I'm not in the ashram, like I'm not doing regular volunteering and everything, but just my understanding, like not only at Isha, but like anywhere else or something like that. What actually usually actually happens is like whatever we actually referred as a volunteering or something like that is to make you flexible in
Every
everything, from
situation.
your emotions to energies in your actions and in your intention and everything, depending upon what is needed, you should be able to do it. Okay. So for example, like see, like look at me, like I was writing a book, like I was conducting the yatras, and like all these kind of things I'm doing and everything. I'm running a business, and all these kind of things are also there. Now, what is going to happen is like when any of the meditator, what has actually happens is now once you got into, let's say you go to the ashram, I'll tell you like a simple story that is associated with my first visit to the ashram. So when I went to the ashram, like I've never been lived in the ashram before, and I'll tell you like a little back story in that one, because when I came back from the UK, I wanted to become like a Buddhist monk. But when I came back to Nepal, and then like I saw all these people were actually doing politics, I avoided that one, and then like I started roaming on my own. And when I went to the ashram and everything, like I was there to do my sadhana. And one of the Anna actually came to me and then said that like, Anna, let's go to the Nalanda ground to play football and everything. And then I was shocked, I came to the ashram to do my sadhana, and this Anna is asking me to play football. If I wanted to play football, I could have played in a city somewhere else. Why should I be playing football? And
Sadhana
there
is
are
fun.
other things also. I will not go into too much into
Yeah,
that one.
yeah.
Maybe whenever we meet personally somewhere in the ashram somewhere, like I can share a
I
little more. There are more things also.
my
So what
friend.
has yeah.
Yeah,
So coming into, I just want to
yeah.
conclude this one. So what has actually happened is like when people go to certain kind of ashrams or something, maybe initially they were
Like,
clear about what they wanted to do, but what has actually happened is slowly like they start accumulating friends, families, best friends, and all that kind of thing. Then there's no special process, because you are there to include yourself with everything and dissolve yourself with everything. Okay, but when you go over there, like now you have got like your own group of department, and you have got your own friends. You are making jokes with them. You go out and have food with them, and when the new guys comes, you want to isolate them and all that kind of stuff. So basically, what is actually happening is like you left your family, and then
great.
you say you are a seeker, and then now you have your own friends, and then like you are doing the same thing every time the program happens, and there's no breaking of limitations, isn't it? Isn't
It's yeah, another topic altogether.
it? Yeah,
But yeah, I think it's always that unless you are that capable, or unless you just become that kind of a life there,
yeah.
light.
But I think like it's a matter of like a willingness, just like Sadhguru says. So
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
yeah. Just you need to have that willingness. You should not die. Let that willingness die. So
Yeah.
that's the
And
big
if
thing.
it, I mean, if it has to just spread that, if that light has to spread, then you need to do that. And again, focus is what it is, and
Correct.
everything just comes to the basics again.
Yeah, there is
But I
sadhana and
think
willingness. Like if you just have like a sadhana and willingness, like there's nothing else is needed actually. Yeah,
my friends keep asking me
yeah,
because it's all a different thing for me now. Because for me, most of the time, my sadhana is there. So they be like, okay, can we just go there? Oh, you should be going there. That's fascinating. You should try that. There's something new coming up. You should try.
right.
And I'll be like, no, I have my sadhana first. Everything is aside, but first is sadhana. And like,
Yeah,
okay. And then they get a serious face, and they'll be like, okay. So next time they just do respect for however it is.
yeah.
So even if they are not doing it, I see that they're respecting. That's
Yeah,
something very
you can
beautiful.
actually use a one like a Ramban, although my name is Ram also. What you need to say it is like see, just like you are never skipping your food, isn't it? Yes or no?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Just like food is for the body, like the spiritual sadhana is for yourself.
Yes, sir.
So you just tell that. So I need to take this doses every day. If
Sometimes,
you just tell that, yeah,
so yeah, exactly. Sometimes I be like, bro, I need to be calm in front of you. I need to take it cool. I need to be happy like this. I need to be keeping,
yeah,
smiling and make you smiling. So I need to do my sadhana.
correct. Yeah.
Yeah, otherwise people don't just understand that. But yeah, I think for all the beginners and the freshers who don't know anything about what we are talking, or something, if you have understood, one thing I would like to say is that sadhana is something that you just do it every day,
Mm-hmm.
and it could be simply just being kind enough, humble
Yeah,
enough, or
yeah,
just tracking what your actions are in your day, and
yeah,
be true to yourself. I think from here, if you just start doing things, you automatically understand what you need to do to your body,
yeah,
to the food you eat, and to your emotional and
Yeah.
mental, I mean, the well-being of your mind. I think you'll slowly start catching things of,
Yeah, absolutely
because you
correct.
yourself
Yeah.
will put a track to, okay, this is lacking, let me go and take a guidance. This is lacking,
Mm.
let me go and take a
Yeah.
this. I think that's how you can just guide yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. That's absolutely true, actually. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh goodness. So Anna, I think we're in the end of it.
Yeah.
So you want to like take any questions from the
Yeah,
audience if there is any?
we can take like 3 questions. You can choose the questions. So you are the host. So.
No, I don't know how many of my followers are here. So if anyone is here who is watching, or you want to ask any questions, please. I think most of the followers are your followers here,
Hmm.
because my followers.
Maybe like they do not know. Like you should have like a posted in a group or something like that.
I've just put a story that on this page I'm live.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's, is the voice audible? Okay. So Yogini Seeker has a question. How to do the sadhana as an offering?
Hmm.
Okay.
Okay. So basically, like see, it's very straightforward. Like for example, like if you had went through the traditional approach of the Patanjali Yoga Sutras, there is something known as the yamas and niyamas. Okay, so although like any of the spiritual process, like they will never tell like these are yamas and niyamas. These are actually something known as the foundations. For example, I'll give you a very simple example. If you do the sadhana with the wrong intentions, you will become like asuras. Okay, you must have seen, no? Like in the stories, you have seen that asuras have been doing sadhana for so many thousands of years. They actually do more sadhana than, like gods and everything. Okay, but now, like after that, what they got? They got like a crazy kind of siddhis and powers and everything, and then like they are creating the havoc, and eventually like they are creating disaster for themselves. So basically, like if you do the sadhana with the right approach and with the like right intention and good foundations, then you will become a Rama. Okay, if you read the story of the Ramayana, like the Prince Rama was actually not enlightened initially. He goes to the Rishi Vasishtha, and Vasishtha actually helps him enlighten. Okay, there's a entire like scripture regarding that one, Yoga Vasishtha. So basically, like what we actually referring as like doing as an offering is basically like getting your fundamentals correct. Okay, for example, like there's a known as the uh, it's known as the like Iswar Pranidhana. Okay, which is basically means that like whatever you comes to you, let's say like in your life at the moment, if you just become very conscious, everything is happening by itself. Okay, even like like you feel hungry by yourself, you get tired by yourself, you can sleep by yourself, and you can die by itself also. You don't need to put any effort on that one. Okay, so everything is happening by itself, so you can become joyful like this. Now whatever, but at the moment the problem is like a good thing is happening in your life, I'm doing it. Bad thing is happening in my life, somebody else is doing it. Okay, so this is the misery that is happening in your life. So if you want to do your sadhana and everything, you want to put your energy and everything into a particular direction. So in this case, you are using either the deity or the guru as the fulcrum. So good thing is happening in your life, you offer it to your guru. Bad thing is happening to it, you offer it to the guru. So when you do your sadhana, you offer it to the guru. That is the fastest way to do it.
Yeah.
Okay, for example, like if you are doing the sadhana because like your guru has asked you to do it, then it is going to be a very very different thing. So basically like that is the way to keep your foundation correct. Because when you are in a state of offering, okay, see like to bowing down to somebody else or even to ask the question to somebody else is very challenging for
Yeah.
an individual, because it has a certain kind of ego. Because the moment you ask a question or you bow down to something, you have to make yourself vulnerable, isn't it? Yes or no? Yes. And you guys may not know that like the most powerful deity in any of the temple is the most vulnerable actually, if it is done in a very tantric way or something like that. That is the reason like Dhanalinga is a little bit of the exception, but like if you look into the other temples, like you will find like a lot of like energy locking points and like a different deities to protect that deity actually. Okay, because the main deity is like very vulnerable, and only then like the deity can actually be active in the full potential way. So basically, like when you are offering, it's not because of like a Sadhguru or like any guru or any deity or something. By becoming the offering mode, you become more and more open. Okay, when you become more and more open, like you can receive more. If it is best that like you can become empty, but if you cannot become empty, you need to become offering. The moment you offer, then you can receive more. That's what it is all. Okay.
Yes. Yeah, now you can go for the next question, whichever you feel like. Yeah.
Okay, any energy spaces in Europe? Yeah, few of them are there, but like I'm not going to disclose too many things here. But
Yeah, I mean,
but
you
yeah,
people can connect to him on the page because he has
yeah,
got many yatras
because like
planned.
there are a few things. It's not like in the like even in India also, like there are few places like where you cannot openly go and meditate and everything, and
Yes.
social things are there. So you have to in India, like we go, of course, but you have to make access of that one very discreetly and everything. So undercover in like a many sense. Okay, so.
Yeah, so there are.
Okay, Anna, please talk something about Prarabdha. Okay, like if you read the Sadhguru's Karma book, like a Prarabdha is going to take place. I'll give you like a very simple analogy because like okay, as a sucks. So I don't have a library here like at the moment, but like back home, like I've got a library also. But I have not read those books. Like those books are only for the references to find the energy spaces because that was the part of the project. All the books has got like a very nice printing smell and everything is still there fresh.
Nice.
So it still has not like absorbed my smell, those books. So basically uh, if you want to understand like how the karma works is you can say that like like I'm an unconscious author. Okay, so whatever the action I'm doing can be used as an analogy of writing a book. So I'm like unconsciously I'm writing a lot of books. Okay, so at the end of the book is completed, I'm going to add that book into my library. So by doing this, like unconsciously, I've written so many books. Okay, it has a huge library of books. Okay, so now what I'm going to do it is like someday I feel that okay, like I need to update this book. You have seen like a different edition of books, isn't it? So you go to the library, you pull out the book from there, and you want to make some changes in that book. You change the book, and then you put into the library again. Now the thing is going to happen is now while you're doing it, like something else is missing always. Okay, maybe I can do the ending a little bit better. I want to make it like a little bit more, or like oh, I've got a new idea. I want to do it more. So you go on doing that. So basically, what is going to happen is basically the way you are writing the the book is basically like creating the karma. When I'm writing a book, I'm creating a karma. When I'm putting the book into the library, that library is basically a sanchita karma. Okay, sanchita karma, just like Sadhguru says, is the warehouse of karma. It's full of libraries. It is all written by me. Okay, nobody else has written it. Okay, now the moment I pull the book from there, that is basically you have taken a birth and you have chosen the prarabdha. So that particular book is your current prarabdha. Okay, this is the book. You have to go through reading it and you have the ability to make changes of it or leave it as it is. Okay,
As it
if
is.
you leave it as it is, eventually, every time you die, the book goes into the library. Now, like you bring out the book, you read it consciously. Now, like a new book is not written. Okay, if you do not write the new book, then that basically is what is going to happen. All the books is now going to get finished. Okay, so that is the Sanchita. Prarabdha is the book. I've just taken it out because I thought that okay, this thing is missing. I want to make it. For example, like you must have watched like a lot of Bollywood movies or any movies that like the heroine, like they are in love and then like they have been murdered and everything. Now, just to be together, like they are taking another birth, isn't it? So
Yeah.
that intention fuels which book you want to take it from the library. Okay, and that is the prarabdha comes, and then everything comes. So basically, like there are spiritual processes which can actually burn down the entire, the sanchita karma. And as Sadhguru says that the spiritual process is technically the one that Sadhguru is using and Isha Foundation that offers does not mess up with your prarabdha. Okay, it only handles the sanchita. Okay, now prarabdha in the prarabdha, just like there are Sadhguru gives you the option. Okay, the sadhana actually gives you the option, and if you go and read the karma book, it actually gives you, and like that is my experience also. So you can act just like I said, you can dissolve the prarabdha in the energy dimension, or let it manifest and go through that one. For example, like people who get attracted to like opposite sex and you get married or something like that, that is basically your prarabdha is getting manifested. Okay, so if you go consciously with that one, then like that karma is not going to come back to you. But now like whatever kind of vivah you do, I'm not going to trigger a lot of people. But after that, like eventually like you found out, okay, like they are not the soulmate. Okay.
Yeah.
Just like Sadhguru says that like only the soul of your shoe is going to have a mate. Okay, because you have got 2 feet. But the soul does not have a mate because like it is only one. So in that one, like you might think, okay, my wife could have been like different or better or something. Now you are going to write another book again. Okay, and that is going to come back again. So basically, like the prarabdha is basically a book that you have chosen because you have unfinished business. So and you have actually identified that one. So now, like if you have to handle it, you have to do kriya to handle it in the energy dimension, or do karma yoga so that you handle in the physical dimension. Yeah. So okay. I think I answered that question.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's it. No more questions.
Okay, maybe like we can take the last question, third one.
Which one? The silence one? I see what is silence. Someone has asked what is Acha, why do some people experience crazy
Okay,
things?
this was the last question. Okay, so this is an obvious reason. It's just like a karmic structure. Because of your karmic, because if you boil down to everything, like it's all about karmic structure, because your karmic structure, which is actually known as the prarabdha, which Akka has asked, that your prarabdha determines like where you are going to get born, like what type of body you are going to take, and what kind of constitution you are going to have. Although like there is certain kind of collective karma into the play, but mostly your karmic structure is going to going into the play, because that is determined that prarabdha has been taken for the particular objective initially. Okay, but for whatever reason, let's say the intervention of let's say very powerful beings like Sadhguru, or maybe somewhere down the line, like there was a glitch in a matrix. Okay, and then you got a little bit of view of like the whatever you are doing is all rubbish, and like you become a seeker. Become a seeker basically means like you got a glitch into the the matrix. Okay? You saw a little bit of glimpse beyond the Maya. Okay, so matrix and Maya or your mind is same thing. All three things are same thing. So basically, like the moment you realize and everything, now what is going to happen is, because of the karmic structure and everything, you have certain kind of body that is susceptible to certain things, and like it is like a little bit rigid to certain things. And when you are born, like your energy body is going to also going to be completely different. Because of that reason, like some people has got very feminine kind of attributes, even though they are male or female. And regardless of that one, like they are either male or female, because their Ida or Pingala is like a more dominant in their system, energy bodies and everything. And some people has got a lot of energy blockages in their system also. And it also depends on their like a previous lifetimes, like a spiritual progression and evolution also. So basically what is going to happen is like when you are sitting into like a spiritual process or high energy spaces, now because of your karma, like some people like who are very receptive to the energy space or something, they can explode very easily. Okay, and some people are going to go through, but I want to tell you is like you need to have a control and mastery over that process. You exploding like that, like it's no good. You not experiencing is also not good. Okay. You need to have a control. That is what the possibility that Guru gives. That in a moment you can go into that dimension, in a moment you can come back, and again it should be under your control. Because what is going to happen is like if you, just like we gave you that example, that drinking a lot of water, basically like why people are exploding is because like they cannot handle the energy. That is what it is. And that is the reason like we always recommend people not to do certain kind of practices or not to meditate in certain kind of places, because they can actually program your energy body. That is one aspect of it. And if it has got overdoses and everything of the energies and everything, then you can actually lose your mental balance also. And we have seen that a lot,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah, true.
So yeah, that's the.
So one can start doing the balancing.
Correct. Yeah, hatha yoga. A lot of hatha yoga is needed. Yeah.
Whatever you guys.
So if you do a lot of hatha yoga and everything, that's why Sadhguru says that if you prepare enough and everything, then you can simply sit as long as you can, and then you can experience all that kind of thing without any issues. Otherwise, like a lot of things will start happening to you.
Yeah.
And it may be like a counterintuitive also. So yeah. So sadhana is must.
Yes, sadhana is must.
Yeah. Do not drink too much water. That's another analogy.
Yes.
Don't overdo it. Okay, just follow the instructions from the ashram. Do not take any instructions from anybody else, especially me also. So
Yeah.
I'm not trained to like instruct anybody for any sadhana. I'm just telling you the benefits and whatever I've learned through my experience. So it's the first-hand experience I'm sharing. So that's what.
Disclaimer.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Yes. So I think we can wind it up here today. Do you
Yes.
have
Okay.
something else to say?
No, I don't have anything else. Like it's a privilege that you gave this
No.
opportunity to discuss about it.
I'm really thankful to you for firstly accepting this and taking out your time and energy to make this
Yeah.
happen, because I don't know, there was a certain connect that I immediately, when I saw one of the posts, it happened, and I just knew that this is one day going to happen and it's going to go ahead.
Yeah.
So I know that. I mean, it's just that I don't need to even say it to you, but yeah, I had to do this. So thank you so much. Also, for all of the guys who don't know Anna, so if you have any kind of queries or you want to explore the energy spaces in India and want to know some insightful, spiritual books about the energy that you want to know, you can follow Ram Gurungang Anna, and his profile is here with presence.english handle. And also on samadhibooks.com,
Yeah.
his work is available.
Yeah.
So
And we are conducting the yatras like the
yeah,
Kailash and Nepal yatra. Kashi is also coming, and South Indian also we are planning. So hopefully, yeah, we'll see.
yeah. So yeah, thank you. And lastly, I want to just say this, that don't forget to, I mean, for all the audience here, don't forget to spread love and spread smile, because you never know that there must be someone who is just, um, living a life because of you. You must be a ray of hope for them. So just be kind and humble, because it takes nothing.
Yeah. And another thing is like you should laugh before like you lose your teeth because you
Yeah.
don't look good after.
Oh yes. Wrinkle-free face.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, Anna. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much for giving this opportunity. Namaskar.
Namaskaram.